to the channel. Today we will be learning how to draft a princess dart busting. Okay, so I started out by rolling out my shoulder line, which you can also call the starting line, and then I measured my shoulder, measuring 16 inches. That's 16 divided by 2 will give us 8 inches. I want to take my chest line measurement. The chest line, you can get the chest line, which can also be called the armhole line. You can get it by saying that your bust divided by 6, then you add 1.5 inches. Yes, this is how to get it. But before then, I'll be coming down by 1 inch for the slanting. Then basic neckline measurement is 3 inches by 3 inches. So yeah, please follow me. I want you to get this thing, and I want you to be able to work on it by yourself, which I'm sure you'll be able to anyway at the end of this tutorial. So that's the basic line. Standard is 3 by 3. Okay, then I slant it by the 1 inch that I came with, making sure it comes back to this line. Good. After which I come down. Mine should be about 8.16 thereabout. However, if you don't want to go through that route, you can use the standard armhole, which is usually 9 inches. 9 inches works for most people. I like getting my own exact approximate this to 8.5, and then you connect it to that line. After which I come from the shoulder. My bust point measurement is 10.5. Bust point is 10.5. I indicate it. Under bust is 14 inches. I indicate it. Half length is 17 inches. I indicate it. So I mark out the lines as shown. And I come to this place, to this chest line. I take my bust measurement. My bust measurement is 40 inches, which is 40 divided by 4 will give us 10. So I come here and I roll the line. So this then serves as my chest line. This serves as my bust line. This serves as my under bust, and this serves as my half length. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to come down here and do 5 inches downwards. See, I'm just teaching you the simplest way. The simplest way you can have it. I come down and I do 5 inches downwards, and I do 6 inches downwards. You can do 4 inches depending on the bust size of the person. You can do 4 inches and come down by 1 inch, which is 5 inches here. So I come to the bust line now, and I take the dart measurement. Take the dart measurement, which is 4.5 in this case. Now I come to the under bust. Whatever I have taken as the dart measurement on the bust line, I subtract 1. So if I had taken 5 inches at the bust line, I come to the under bust and I do 4. If what I have taken on the bust line is 4 inches, I come to the under bust and I do 3 inches. So for this case, in this case now, I did 4.5 here. So I'll come down here and I will do 3.5 inches. In fact, if you had done 4, just subtract 1 inch and come down, mark it. I come to the half length as well, I come down and I mark it as well. Then I come to the under bust and I do 2 inches difference. Don't stress yourself saying you are doing 1/2 here, you are doing 1.5 here, you are doing two. Just go to the under bust side, the side that is facing the open side of the paper, representing the cloth. Mark 2 inches. Go to the lower part as well, mark 2 inches. Are you getting it now? Now come to this side, roll the 2 inches you have marked, connect the under bust and the half length, connect it, roll a straight line. Do the same to the first that line that you marked. You'll have something like this. Remember, we have 5 inches here and we have 6 inches here. Yeah, now take your French curve, okay, place it like so. I would advise you do 1/2 inch because you are just starting. I would advise you come down by 1/2 inch so that this place there's not much friction here. Do you understand? So you do it like this. Making sure that this is touching here and this is also touching here. Now you roll it like so. Yeah, now for this one, for this curve you've taken, just know that this curve is going to go to the lower parts. We have 2 parts, the upper part, which is the 5 inches, and the lower part. In your case, it might be 4 inches and 5 inches depending on the bust size that you're working with. Yeah, but for this bust size, if it's a slimmer person, I'll go with 4 and 5, but as this is it, I'm going with 5 and 6. And so I'll take this same French roll and I will just set it. I will set it, just set it to touch the lower part. And that's it. You've been able to form the bust. Now we have 2 inches here. Yeah, we would also go ahead and extend it with these 2 inches that we have here. So I will mark I will roll a straight line and then I would measure 2 inches. Now that 2 inches, I will return it to this chest line. If we don't return it to the chest line, it's going to be short by the time we are sewing it. So what do? I connect this line and this line together. I connect those 2 lines together. So we've been able to form our bust. So now we will now connect this line to this line and link it here. What I do here is I'm going to connect this to can you see? Then I connect it like so. Don't stress yourself. Just do it using this method I'm teaching you and you would get it. So yeah, that's it. That's what we have. Finish. Oh, that's all. That is all. And then we will now go ahead and start inputting our dots. So for here we have 12.1. I just place it here as well. I take the under bust measurement. In this case, the under bust measurement is 33. 33 is 8.25. 8.25. So there are 2 ways you can go about it. You can go ahead and measure your 8.25 directly, yes, like so. Or you can take your measurement from here to here, which is 3.5, and then you skip these two, and then you start the next measurement from this 3.5 to your 8.25. However, because it is, I want it to be beginner friendly and something you would understand very well, we're just going to go ahead and measure the 8.25 directly. So you take your 8.25, yes, then you come to this place, the distance between here and here, you measure it. Don't assume you know it. Don't assume that it is 2. Measure it and be sure. Now return it here, the 2 inches, return it here. I hope you understand. Then you move to the waistline. The measurement is 37, so that's 9.25. So I measure 9.25 here. I measure 9.25, and I measure what I have here, 2 inches. I return it as well, 2 inches. So now it's left to you. If you want to add your allowances to this pattern, you can go ahead and add your allowances, maybe 1.5, maybe 2 inches. And if you know that you just want to have this pattern, you don't want to add the allowances, then go ahead and connect these lines. But remember that when you are cutting out the fabric, you are going to put the allowance on the fabric. So let's go ahead to join all our lines together. So and then you connect from your under bust to your waistline. Like so. Can you see? Can you see? That's all. That is all. Let's cut it out. Remember that because we did not add any allowance to this pattern, when you are cutting it as well, you're going to have to add your allowance at the lower parts. You would add half inch also to join the shoulder. You're going to add your allowances at this side also. So let's cut it out. That's what you have here. This is your bust, this is your under bust, and this is your waist. So you come to your under bust here, if it is on the piece of the cloth, and you notch it gently. This is where your have. This is what you have. This is what you have. I'll start by taking the starting line, which is half an inch. Half an inch. And that's it. And then I come to this side. That's the folded side of the pattern paper, or the folded side of the fabric if you want to do freehand. And depending on you, you could take your zipper allowance to be 1.5 inch, but in this case I'll be doing 2 inches. So I start out by marking out 2 inches. And I roll a straight line. I roll a straight line. So from there now I'll take, so I won't start my measurement from this zipper side. So let's write it out. Zipper allowance. Yeah, so I come to this upper side and I take my shoulder measurement. Remember, it is your shoulder divided by 2. You mark it out. For the front, I slanted it by 1 inch, so I come here as well. I do the slanting. My neckline for the front was 3 inches, you know, to the wideness, and to the depth it depends on the style you're sewing, but in this case I will just leave it at 1.5 inches. You could do 3 inches, you could do whatever. It's just a basic, you know, measurement that I'm working with. And then I go ahead and I curve it like so. So I come to this line and I measure out the slanted part. And then remember we had our line in front. Really straight, yeah, and I really straight line. This also serving as my chest line anyway. And then I measure 11, and from there 17 inches, which is the waistline. I mark it all out. Now there's a reason I marked out this 3 line, so that you would understand it, you know, better. Bust line, let's call this under bust, but there is no under bust at the back, and then you have your waistline here. So what happens is you take your dart, like the dart you took in front at the bust line, the dart you took in front at the bust line, you repeat it at the waistline. Okay, so the front line I have my dart there, and so I'm going to take it as well. Then you see from this bust line I take the dart as well. but in this case I will come down by 1 inch. So instead of taking it on the bust line, I'm going to come down by 1 inch and connect it together. Yeah, so I'm stopping here. I came down by 1 inch and I'm doing a straight line. Then I come to the left, to the right, and to the left of the waist side, and I take ½ inch each. I do ½ inch to the right and ½ inch to the left, and I connect it like so. I connect it like so. So then I come to the chest line. So you're going to ignore this bust line. I only used it to explain this, the coming down, you know, of this that leg. So you come to the chest line and you take the bust measurements. You come to the under bust and you take the under bust measurements. But because we have something here, so you go ahead and you measure what you have there. It's not up to ½ inch here, so I return it here. If you don't do that, your measurement at the end of the day will be short. I come to the waistline and I take my waist measurements. And then I come here and I measure what I have here, which is 1 inch, half to the left, to the right, and half to the length, and I return the 1 inch. Now, like I used to say, it's up to you. If you want to add your allowances at this point, you can go ahead and do that. But before I go ahead, I'm going to connect my round armhole together. But because I didn't add allowance to the front part, I won't be adding allowance to this part, so I'm going to connect it like so. Yeah, so what I usually like to do is, in order to avoid the zipper from bulging, I like doing two things. Yeah, the first one is that I come up by ½ inch like so, and I take it all the way down to make this point. And in fact, sometimes I even do it even further at times by going all the way to still come in again by ½ inch, and I connect it all the way. You could leave it at this point. If you do this, your zipper will still not bulge, but I like doing those two things. I go further by doing this. And I connect it like so. Yeah, so this is it. This is it. I cut all this. I cut this side out. I take this side out, and then I take this side out. So I go ahead and I cut. Then I go ahead. Then I go ahead. You do that on your fabric. So when you're working on it, you just sew it. By the time you're working it something like this, you know. So yeah. I hope it was explanatory. I hope you were able to get it. And with this, we've come to the end of this tutorial. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. See you in my next video. Bye.